Hello, I am Debopriyo Roy. I am a faculty at the Center for Language Research at the School of Computer Science and Engineering at the University of Aizu. This is a presentation for JALTCALL 2020, and the topic of the presentation is learning about smart home technology in a call classroom. So let me start talking about the presentation. Okay, so let me start talking about the coursework. As you can see from the picture that this is a technical writing focused classroom. So the entire focus is on mastering the art of introductory technical writing to a large extent. So this is an undergraduate plus graduate combined technical writing classroom on the topic of smart homes. The focus of the project that we handle throughout the quarter is here 7 weeks plus 1 week of final exam. So basically we don't have any final exam for this course. So this is a 8 weeks quarter for us. So the focus of the project is information design in a technical writing classroom. And when we talk about information design, quite a part of it is about technical writing, but a large part of the focus is on information visualization. Okay. At the same time, this is a soft CLIL based classroom where the focus is on teaching technical writing, the language side of it, but at the same time, we focused as much on the smart homes technology that we wanted to teach students as well. Because one thing we realized that the students do not have much experience in learning about the community planning side of it, or the community side of it, or the user side of technology. So there are no real courses on usability in this university, although there are very high quality computer science courses, but not many courses on usability. So we wanted to focus on the societal use of technology, societal acceptability of the technology, and the end user perspectives of the smart home technology, and also the business side of it. See, we wanted to see how what is the prospect of a technology in the market, how much is it acceptable in the market, what does the market think about it in terms of the sales, the production, the customer perspective, the customer opinion, and things like that. So in the soft CLIL based call classroom, EFL students in the Japanese Computer Science University learned English using video production with Adobe Spark. So in terms of this assignment, we wanted to focus on designing commercials about smart homes. So they designed the commercials after analyzing lots of video commercials on smart homes. So this was their opportunity to design their own Adobe Spark commercial on the smart home technology. Information design, we wanted to see their ability to design information using tools like Venngage, software like Venngage and Canva, which are great for designing posters, infographics, and many other applications which are in the area of technical writing. So we wanted to see how well students can do that. And also another very important thing was the creation of ontology. Ontology in terms of the content of the smart home technology, its acceptability in the society in a particular context, and we'll talk about that later in the presentation. And also designing concept maps. Now when we talk about ontology and concept map, we're kind of using it interchangeably in trying to see how well these tools can help in the planning of smart home technology and its use and acceptability and the usability in the society. So we've used tools like MindMister, sketchboarding, and IHMC cloud software on the topic of smart homes. Finally, we did an audience analysis about the smart home acceptability retrospectively. After we finished with the general assignments like with video production, information design, ontology, concept mapping, we retrospectively wanted to see as part of the graduate course, only the graduate side of it, only the graduate class work, we wanted to see what is the acceptability, what do people from different works of life think about smart home technology, how does it fit into their context, their way of life. So we wanted to see that, and the students did an audience analysis about the smart home acceptability. So the smart home context. Let's talk about the smart home context. So what you see here is kind of a short example of how the smart home works. Okay, so you have the server here, Ethernet, Arduino Ethernet server, and here's the internet. So it's connected to your smartphone. All the gadgets, all the electronic gadgets at your home is connected to the Arduino server, and then the server is connected to the internet, which in turn is connected to your smartphone. Okay, well, it can be an Android smartphone or your Apple smartphone, or it can be your tablet. So whatever it is, it's the connection. Okay, and it's a IoT, Internet of Things. So we focused a lot on these readings on these topics in the classroom. So in the smart home context, so this is a group project-based language learning focused activity that we carried on throughout the course of the quarter. And the students focused on the smart home technologies, for example, Amazon Eco Family, Google Home, home security systems, smart thermostat, etc. in the Japanese and the European markets. Okay, and then the presentation will explain how students have performed with planning of the commercial videos and content design on smart home technology and business, and the retrospective audience analysis to understand the creation of commercial smart home content. So the name of the course is Design and Analysis for IT Business. And the graduate course that works simultaneously with this course was Technical Writing for Software Engineering. Okay, so and for both the courses, I will talk about both the courses. So both the courses are focused on technical writing, introductory technical writing, and advanced technical writing. It's a project-based language learning course, and the focus is soft CLIL based. Okay, and what we just talked about is the content. So we did a lot of analysis for commercial video design with infographics, poster, and concept mapping, mind maps, and so on. So we'll talk about these things. So the collaboration and the smart home context. So this was a three-way international collaboration in a project-based learning course on the smart home technology. So we'll explain how this is a three-way one. So graduate course from the Japanese Computer Science University collaborated with undergraduate students from the same university. So that is the phase one. So there are three groups. So these are the two groups. One is the undergraduate group in the computer science context in our university, and the other one is the graduate group in this from the same university working on the same course. One at the undergraduate level, and the other one is at the graduate context. So smart home was a chosen topic in this content language integrated learning classroom, as it's a fairly recent topic. It's IoT is quite fashionable. The smart home market is growing the world over, and it's a completely new CLIL content area in a Japanese English as foreign language learning context. Importantly, the smart home context allowed for designing many technical writing assignments that help students see the community planning side of technology. There were many computer science courses in this university where the students are solely focused on learning the programming side of it or the mechanical side of Internet of Things, but they haven't really had the opportunity to see the user and end user side of it, as to what is the preference for smart homes, how would they get attracted to a smart home device, what is the market like, when are they more inclined to buy a smart home product, and things like that. So we focused quite a bit on those aspects, the social aspects, the social and the industrial aspects of the usability side of the product, the marketing side of the product in the smart home context, and try to represent it through media production. And we'll see how that worked out in this course. So the external collaboration. So we talked about how the graduate class collaborated with the the undergraduate class, but now here we are talking about the external collaboration and the ACM conference. So during the process of this internal collaboration, the graduate undergraduate group from Japanese university had to communicate extensively with a German university partner. Basically, this university is the Karlsruhe University of Applied Sciences in southern Germany, and we have a very strong collaboration with them. And in this coursework, we invited them over for a conference, and our students, both the undergraduate and the graduate student combined, they worked with the German students throughout the quarter on the smart home project. So we'll see what kind of courses the German students were enrolled in and how they collaborated with our Japanese students. Okay, so during the process of this internal cooperation, the graduate undergraduate group from the Japanese university had to communicate extensively with the German university partner, as I said, and they were in a graduate class on advanced technical communication and media management on their side, on the German side. So they acted as clients. And what we did is we completed the assignments, our students completed the assignments, run it through the graduate students who approved it, and then it was transferred over to the German students. So the smart home assignments were then transferred over to the German students. So the German took the material as content for their content management and delivery systems, ontology preparation, and metadata creation activities. So that's what their course was focused on. So this was a bilateral exchange, not only of the smart home context, but we also got to learn a lot from them as to how they handle their projects, what their course is focused on, and how their course fits into our content area, which is the smart home. So ours was an introductory technical writing class, and for the German students, it was an advanced technical writing class. We completed our assignments and then transferred it over, and at the end of the quarter, these students came over to Japan to attend the ACM conference, which was hosted in our university, and this was basically a collaboration to showcase the collaborative work done by our class and their class with the smart home content. Okay, so the entire quarter-long project ended with joint international conference presentations and workshops focusing on international collaboration and exposure. So what you see here is basically the workshop which is going on the smart home context, and this is a presentation that's going on. Okay, for the ACM conference at the end of the quarter, where these students are presenting their side of ontology creation and content management systems, CDP, and content management systems, and our students were focusing more on how they created, how they produced the media with for the smart home content. So the Japanese university students in both graduate and undergraduate courses had to do reasonably extensive reading to better understand IoT-based technologies and complete the assignments. So some of them had some exposure, some of the undergraduate students had some exposure with the smart home context from other IoT-based readings or programming classes they have taken, but generally nothing really substantial. And this course focused on the societal side of it, the application, the marketability side of it, and we tried to understand how IoT works for the society, for the community, how it adds to the usability factor in the society. Okay, so that was how we carried on with this project. So the research questions, what we wanted to study as part of this project was the ability of our students to plan video design using the concept mind mapping software, ability to explain the content related to the smart home business and technologies, ability for information design on smart home technologies for print media, their introductory skills in designing and producing smart home technology videos, and conducting a retrospective audience analysis of the potential smart home market. So these are the 5 research questions that we wanted to study and their ability to do these things. Okay. Okay, so this is the first undergraduate assignment, content comprehension and analysis ability. So what you see here is an example of the work done by one of the undergraduate teams on the KCOR robot project. So they analyzed a specific smart home technology that they think is going to be effective and the users are going to like it in Japan, and they talked about it, why it's going to be liked, what's the usability of the product, why they think it fits into the societal context, culturally why this product will have a strong acceptability, and things like that. So that was part of the assignment. So based on student research, each of the three teams identify a smart home product that could be of use and marketable in Japan. In brief, so that was the assignment. So data and class observation showed that they could identify the smart home technology well based on Google search. So they could identify, there are many examples of smart home products mentioned in the Google search that appeared, and they chose something that they found to be effective, and they had to explain why they liked it, why they think the society in general will like it, and how that will add to the usability of the context. The class observation showed that they could do the Google search well, identified the features of the technology and the functionality in a smart home context, and discussed why this technology could be effective in smart home contexts. So KCOR Robot and Creole Lock are examples. Data showed that many language level problems exist. So of course the writings showed that there are many language level problems exist, but we have to understand that this is probably one of their first experiences with using the technical writing principles, the nuances of technical writing, and with which they do not have much exposure and experience. So we'll have to cut them a slack on that context. And so it's a job pretty well done in terms of the search, in terms of understanding why a technology is going to work well, better than the other ones. Okay, so thank you. Let me move on to the next slide. All right, so this is the undergraduate assignment. This is the first undergraduate assignment. Let's talk about that. This is the design creativity. Actually, this is the second one. So students were asked to make their own smart home design with Zazzle. It's a website. There are many websites like this where the customers are allowed to customize their product and then they can order it. Okay, so this is Zazzle is one of the such vendors from the United States who allows for the customers to design their products. It can be a cup, it can be a t-shirt, it can be a mug, whatever it is. They allow things to be made based on customer needs, and then it could be printed. It's there in any country now. It's a very common thing. But by doing this, we wanted to see that the idea was to see how smart home could be advertised, how students think about advertising the concept of smart homes by designing a product through the Zazzle interface. Okay, so they made t-shirts, and I will show it to you right now. And they were asked to write an explanation of how they thought about it. So that's what they wrote here. So about the design, I wanted to design the t-shirt as simple as possible. The reason why I kept it simple, because I want the buyer who have not known anything about smart home yet can easily understand what it is. I had an idea that every device in a smart house could be controlled by a smartphone. If you see the picture, there is a hand holding a smartphone. So anyways, the picture is probably small enough for you to see, but this is basically their idea, their explanation. They were asked to write an explanation of how they designed it and what was the thought going on in their mind when they were designing something like this. And this is another group that designed something like this for the smart homes. So I chose family, home, workplace, and IoT diagrams. I think that you can take care of it overseas with a simple design. To make a t-shirt to emphasize smart home in Japan, I think it's better to use a picture that depicts the family's unity, or a picture that shows the connection through IoT. So that's an interesting thought. So this was the task. This was the second task that they went through. The third one is undergraduate is concept mapping and sketchboarding. So this assignment was a little hard for them to accomplish, not as much in terms of the content, but in terms of following the assignment instructions. And I will tell you what was problematic in this assignment. So the assignment asked for using MindMister, which is a mind mapping software and sketchboarding software to lay out the plan on how the smart home technology were to be shown in the student team's design of a short documentary using Adobe Spark. So basically the idea with this assignment is to see what was the plan for the movie, the Adobe Spark movie that the students will design. So this is the planning part for a Adobe Spark movie that they will design in subsequent weeks. Okay, and the problem was with the assignment was that the assignment in itself was well done in the context of smart homes, but what the students could not understand from the assignment is how to lay it out in terms of scenes. So, for example, Adobe Spark, when they were doing it, it can be done in frames. So the students failed to understand how to make the design and how to make the planning and how to make the connections between nodes, which is a very typical outcome in a concept map in terms of frames, in terms of scenes, and in terms of the content of the Adobe Spark movie, not the concept of smart homes in itself. So what they turned out doing, most of the groups, was that they turned out designing the content of smart home. They ended up making the concept maps and the mind maps for the smart home technology without focusing much on the scene by scene layout of how the movie is going to be made. Okay, so that was the problem. So they were not really penalized as much because they did the assignment and they could successfully understand the concept of smart home as it was laid out, but they could not do it in frame by frame, scene by scene, as was asked in the assignment. But anyhow, I wanted you to know that in such a course with the kind of complexity involved, what was possible and what was not possible for them to do successfully. So it looks like with more practice, we'll start seeing the practice effect and the students will be able to do a better job of following the instructions. So if I could show you the instructions for this assignment, it was a very step-by-step, a very detailed layout. And I think since the students are not very well aware of the technical writing nuances and ability to read technical documents as much, they failed to read through it in a step-by-step sequence, and they were not mentally trained to read it in a sequence in a foreign language. Okay, so that was part of the problem. But anyhow, the job was kind of well done in terms of the technology of smart homes. Okay, and so this is what you see here is the Adobe Spark movie design performance. Okay, so this is finally after they ended up planning for how they are going to do the movie, or I would rather say after they ended up planning the technology, the layout of the technology, and understand how the smart home technology works. That's how they started. So this is.
Smart lock is a key with communication and authentication functions that can be exactly information technology controlled. Our products that control whether a door can be opened with information rather than a physical key. Here are some benefits of smart lock. No physical keys make it easy to share with family and visitors, and you don't have to worry about losing keys. A variety of methods can be used as key. For example, smart phone, smartwatch, smart speakers, NFC, and biometrics. In particular, biometrics authentication is very secure. Unlocking with biometrics authentication is very secure. For example, face authentication, fingerprint authentication, and voice code authentication. These methods allow you to unlock without the need for device. Getting started with Smart Lock is very easy. It's very easy because it's not expensive and can be installed later. By using Smart Lock, you can use the key more conveniently and protect your house more safely. Smart vacuum are different from traditional vacuum. For example, some robots clean themselves. Here are some benefits of smart vacuum. Easy to operate, anyone can move with one button. Also, the action is linked to the smartphone app. When the battery is low, it will automatically return to the charging point. With Smart Vacuum, you can keep your room clean at all times by cleaning out of reach, under the sofa, light step, and carpets. You can change the cleaning time to another. You can do another cleaning or focus on another. Smart vacuum has lower consumption and can be used with easy-to-use power. In addition, you can schedule cleaning to reduce power consumption during low power nights. Smart vacuum detects which surfaces are being cleaned and adjusts the suction power. In addition, the location can be recorded with a lot of dust and elaborate cleaning. Smart vacuum is very smart. Sensors recognize the shape of the room or perform more efficient movement for cleaning. Therefore, it can be operated in a short time. Smart vacuum. You can save the time you have used for cleaning and keep your room clean at all times. Furthermore, it can be realized at low cost. There are several benefits to using Smart Lock and Smart Vacuum. First, it saves resources. Reduces resources used for heat and cleaning time. You can do more productive time in extra time. Second, it saves energy. Smart vacuum operates at very low power and consumes less power than traditional vacuum. This can contribute to saving environmental problems. Use them and live a better life than now.
Okay. All right. So that was the movie that one of the groups did. Now let me talk about what some of the groups did. Team A did a presentation without using Adobe Spark. So this team gave a self-designed voiceover on existing smart home commercials, which was already available for free access from YouTube. So they saved it as MP4, split the video, and took it and took the clippings from many videos, put it together as a separate movie, combined it, and then they gave a voiceover for those. Okay, so that's what they did. But one of the problems was that that was a good activity in itself in terms of doing the technical stuff, like taking the frames out from multiple movies, putting it together in a way that they thought made sense, and then giving the voiceover. So that was a good exercise, good speaking exercise in itself. But at the same time, the problem was they could have enriched the performance by putting in the screen text, which they didn't. And that was one of the instructions when designing the Adobe Spark thing. So, but anyhow, that was what one of the groups did. So team B and C, so what you see is probably team B here. So team B and C designed the Adobe Spark movie with standard tools following templates mentioned on the Adobe Spark website. So majority of the screens had a line or more of text explaining the content for each frame that went with appropriate static graphics and with background voice. So that was basically the assignment as was expected. But as I said, what Team A did was also an interesting exercise, an interesting way of doing things. And I thought they did it pretty well. There's no time to show it now, but they did the job pretty well. And the only thing was that there was no on-screen text. So in terms of reinforcing what you hear and then what you see on the screen, that was the missing part of it, because the text was not there in the frames that they selected. But anyhow, it was a job well done.
Smart lock is a key with communication and authentication functions that can be exactly information technology controlled. Are products that control whether a door can be opened with information rather than a physical key. Here are some benefits of smart lock. No physical keys make it easy to share with family and visitors, and you don't have to worry about losing keys. A variety of methods can be used as key. For example, smartphone, smartwatch, smart speakers, NFC, and biometrics. In particular, biometric authentication is very secure. Unlocking with biometrics authentication is very secure. For example, face authentication, fingerprint authentication, and voice code authentication. These methods allow you to unlock without the need for a device. Getting started with smart lock is very easy. It's very easy because it's not expensive and can be installed later. By using smart lock, you can use the key more conveniently and protect your house more safely. Smart vacuum are different from traditional vacuum. For example, some robots clean themselves. Here are some benefits of smart vacuum.
Easy to operate, anyone can move with one button. Also, the action is linked to the smartphone app. When the battery is low, it will automatically return to the charging point. With Smart Vacuum, you can keep your room clean at all times by cleaning out of reach, under the sofa, light step and carpets. You can change the cleaning time to another. You can do another cleaning or focus on another. Smart Vacuum has lower consumption and can be used with easy-to-use power. In addition, you can schedule cleaning to reduce power consumption during low power nights. Smart Vacuum detects which surfaces are being cleaned and adjusts the suction power. In addition, the location can be recorded with a lot of dust and elaborate cleaning. Smart Vacuum is very smart. Sensors recognize the shape of the room or perform more efficient movement for cleaning. Therefore, it can be operated in a short time. Smart Vacuum. You can save the time you have used for cleaning and keep your room clean at all times. Furthermore, it can be realized at low cost. There are several benefits to using Smart Lock and Smart Vacuum. First, it saves resources, reduces resources used for heat and cleaning time. You can do more productive time in extra time. Second, it saves energy. Smart Vacuum operates at very low power and consumes less power than traditional vacuum. This can contribute to saving environmental problems. Use them and live a better life than now.
So this is the graduate assignment on ontology with concept mapping. So the two graduate students took part in this assignment, and this assignment was done completely independently from the undergraduate students. So in other assignments, the graduate students were taking a cue from the work done by the undergraduate students, and they were improving on the work, they were analyzing the work done, they were talking about the shortcomings of the work, what was done well and what was not, and so on. But this was a completely independent work where the students had to read a 37-page journal article on an apartment block design planning using the smart home technology. And this was a community planning article, something, as I mentioned, that the students are not very well exposed. Even the graduate students are not exposed about any coursework on community planning. So this was a good experience for them. And so this article discussed many approaches and technologies in the smart home area that could be applied in an apartment block situation, planning situation. So based on the reading, the two students had to design an ontology and they had to explain the ideas and the concepts and their interrelationships as to what could fit in which area of the apartment block context, either inside the apartment or the entire physical space as such. So the idea was to see how the entire physical space could be connected in a smart home situation, in a smart home context, and also how it will work inside a certain areas in the apartment, which could be kitchen, the drawing room, the bedroom, and so on. Okay. So figure 3 showed that the graduate team could understand the different concepts from the extensive reading of the journal article on apartment block transformation concepts related to the smart home work done. So figure 3 is showing the ontology of apartment block transformation concepts. So again, it's probably too small to see for you, but this is what was the work done. This is an example of the ontology created using the sketchboarding and then using the mind mister. So this is a mind map, but it was done in terms of to understand the layout of the work for the apartment blocks transformation concepts, to lay out how the idea in an ontology format. So that's the work. So this is what we were talking about just a while ago in the last slide. So the task approach, the mind mister concept mapping or the sketchboarding, both actually, was interestingly done as the students divided the task into 2 conceptual clusters, okay, in trying to understand how the work was done in the apartment complex. The first one, as we mentioned in the last slide, was the apartment block layout, which discussed the physical layout of the entire area in the plant transformation. Okay, the entire zone, it could be parks included, common areas in the staircase and so on, the lighting around, the roads around the apartment building, anything like that, the rooftop or any garden which is present in the apartment block. So all these common areas, how the smart home technology could be installed in these areas. And the next one was inside the apartment, or areas which are like kitchen, the drawing room, the bathroom, and so on. So finally, I'd like to say that the communication went on through Team Viewer between the graduate undergraduate group from our side and the German students from Germany. So basically we had meetings, Team Viewer meetings, it's like Zoom, Team Viewer meetings once in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, we were using the Slack workspace to complete the assignments and exchange it, get it approved from the graduate students. So the graduate students had a mentoring role and they were approving the assignments, and then we were putting it into the Slack workspace directly from the Google Drive that the undergraduate students were using on our end. And we used to transfer the link over to the graduate students in Germany. Okay, so that's how, and then we met once in 2 weeks face to face in Team Viewer. So that's basically how we did the things. Finally, conclusion and future research. This project was a success as the entire range of activities was planned as part of a single course from the Japanese context. The results and exposure allowed students to gain some intercultural project management experience and introspect about the shortcomings and how it could be improved by developing more communicative abilities, both written and spoken. So there were lots of activities involved in this sort of project, starting from the speaking activity where our students had to speak to the German students, our undergraduate students had to speak to the graduate students. The graduate students' language competence, English language ability was far better than the undergraduate students. So it was a great exposure for them, but also mostly for the undergraduate students. And this was their first experience attending a conference with the German students who are much advanced in technical writing practices and of course English. And at the same time, the whole value of the exposure in itself was worthy of doing. The undergrad students understood that they need to take on more responsibilities for projects such as this and focus on teamwork and coordination more effectively. The graduate student mentors allowed them to see how much processes could be unfolded when handling a project such as this one. For future versions of this academic project, one idea is to focus on the undergraduate class through dummy intercultural teamwork based communication, where the foreign and graduate students could participate very selectively with the Japanese undergraduate class by asking questions and clarifications for their class assignments back and forth without the real project coordination. Now, we did it and we were successful in what we did, but at the same time, we realized that a more productive experience would be direct one-on-one exchange where the foreign students could study the work done by our students and then question them on that work directly, face to face, one on one, or on a group setting. Either way, it's going to work better than what we did here. So this was a broad experience, which involved several steps, several complexities, several project management needs where the students had to coordinate with the German students and the graduate students. This was all good, but at the same time, more practice, more speaking practice, more intercultural exposure could also be built in the coursework, in the pedagogy itself, by arranging for dummy coordination and dummy communication settings where the foreign students can question our students. So basically very shy students, as you will all know. So it was a way to get them talking, and we were successful, but I think we could be more successful with some change in the plan in the future. So the idea is for the Japanese undergraduates to be able to communicate the project ideas with international partners without help from graduate mentors. So the graduate mentors were coordinating quite a bit because of their superior English language ability, but we want our undergraduates to take the lead. Although every group, all the three groups had a project leader, we felt that their responsibility was somewhat limited by the fact that we had graduate student mentors who took the lead. So we can tweak this experience a bit and see how the next course at the same time next year goes. So we'll see that. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. So also one final point, also many such soft CLIL based coursework should be offered for a more comprehensive approach to teaching content, language, and project management all at the same time. Yeah, so basically the idea was a success. We could work through it, but there were lots of complexities involved which the students were not very experienced with. So in terms of experience, in terms of exposure, actually, it worked much better. But I think in terms of language proficiency, there was no way to measure how much English they learned in this type of course. And self-reports, because of the complexity involved, is not very reliable. But the post-course survey, they gave pretty high marks about the entire experience as such. So we'll bank on that, and we'll hope that the next time we offer this course, we'll be able to offer a more enriched experience through video conferencing, more appropriate use of Zoom, TeamViewer, and the Slack workspace, and a more structured approach to the soft CLIL coursework that we planned for here. So this was the first time it was offered in the smart home context. Next year we might have some change in the idea, like something like health monitoring systems, smart parking with artificial intelligence, and so on. So we'll bring those elements of the smart city and see how it goes. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation. So thank you again. If you have any question about this projects, and we run many projects like this at the University of Aizu, if you have any question about any of these projects, the skill-based courses that we teach at the University of Aizu, please feel free to email me at droy@u-aizu.ac.jp. Thank you.